A very good morning to you, traders. It's Mark here from the day trading room. Time is 11:30 London time on Thursday, the 2nd of June. And what a monster trend day we had yesterday. Really, really strong trend day. Down 280 or so on the Dow Cash, closing below 12,300. And what was the fuel for the fire? Well, it was the unemployment report actually. Or employment report. Maybe unemployment report is a better a better word for it. But yeah, a quarter past one that came out London time, and it just changed the game really. Let's just bring in a chart so we can see a bit of background to this. Here's the Dow Cash. You can just see what a savage downtrend we are. Here's when the data came out. We never revisited the scene of the crime. We just held at the low just before the open, and did a pop up at the open, which gave us opportunity to get short, which we'll talk through in a second. But I just wanted to talk through about how identifying the day type early on, or as early as possible, is going to help your day trades. Now, early on, it became clear that this was a trend day. The drive from the let me just bring the that's the 1 minute, we're 5 minute in. The drive lower, the consolidation at the open, that just wasn't bought. The push lower, the pause at the prior day's low, and then the breakthrough. All these things early on has pointed to a trend day, and the fuel for the fire was that data coming out at half past one. So why was that data so important? Well, I mean, I'm not an economist, but the way I see it is this: I'm not an economist, but I'm a trader, and if I put myself in the position of traders who are holding large positions over several days, weeks, or whatever. If you look at all last week, let me bring in a 60 minute on the Dow here. Okay, if we look at all last week here, you can see that we spent a lot of time in that range. And this lower range down here, this was where we spent a lot of our time. Okay, bank holiday obviously. Then Tuesday we gapped up. So anyone who was buying down here is very happy with their position come Tuesday, or the start of the month, or the end of the month. As first, wasn't it, on Wednesday? So they're very happy. All that accumulating last week has paid off, and it looks as if they're right. So anyone there is okay. Anyone short, it has been stopped out, unless they've got a longer term view on it. So that's what I was thinking. That's the thing I'm thinking. So when you come into today and you start to drive and you start to give back those gains, and in the back of your mind you're thinking, okay, well, if this employment report is anything like the non-farm payrolls on Friday, we're going to take out last week's low. So it would make sense for you to take some risk off the table. It would make sense to ensure that you weren't fully loaded long. If you had accumulated last week, it would make sense to take some profits, and reduce your risk, maybe moving into other asset classes. So I mean, that's the way I saw it, and that's the way it sort of unfolded throughout the day. And the selling on the tape was so institutional. It was amazing at sometimes to see large orders stepping down and just holding a few ticks off the low. That was just a pattern that would happen, especially in the first couple of hours. We had that, and then towards the close, even more so. I've put up a video actually before this, which I recorded as I took the last trade. Well, I took the last trade. I was all positioned, and I thought, okay, well, let's just I'll do just sort of a recording. Hit the recorder on the trade station, and we'll just talk through some of the market action. So, but you could see on that, if you haven't got it, go to the blog and have a look at the video. You could see on the tape there, we were getting really good size coming through on the S&P, filtered time and sales. Even the Dow, was holding. It was good tape. It was good tape action. But anyway, I didn't talk through the other trades, which I want to do now, and the mistake of the day. And actually, we're not perfect. No one's perfect as traders. We're all human, and I want to talk about this. I think this is a disappointment of the day, really. Anyway, let's start off. Okay, we opened up, and as I say, that employment report was just so poor. And we'd pushed up very slightly before the open, very slightly, and sort of back halfway. Let me bring this chart in again. It's a bit mixed up, I know, but there's the push down. It was about halfway from that push low after the employment report. So I'm thinking, okay, people are going to take advantage of this, and it's worth a short. I think it's worth a short. We've got that big gap to fill. We've got the range where everyone was happy with the range of the market last week. So it's a natural place for it to go, and I can afford to have a stop if I catch a little push up. So waited a few minutes, got a push up, just saw on the tape that it started to fail, and took a short. And I was determined just to try and hold on to this position. But of course, we had some data coming out at 3 o'clock at ISM and construction spending at 3. So, and I didn't want to hold through data. I never hold through data. Perhaps it's okay to hold a very small portion, but I just think it's a bit of a gamble. I think it's a bit of a gamble, really. But anyway, so I got a nice little short just as we dip back. As we tried to push back up the high. The open was there. It just really was a line in the sand that couldn't be breached, and you could see on the tape, especially the 54 level was a good 24 level was a good level. So yeah, took a nice little short there, and it just rolled over. It just took a while. It just took so long, and because it took so long, and especially this group of candles here just couldn't break that level. So I thought, okay, we'll just take some off the table here. It's not a great profit, almost a scratch, but I wanted to reduce a bit of the risk. And then we got a little rollover, so again I took a bit more off into that pulse. Still wasn't 100% convinced I had this nailed. I expected the weakness to start a bit earlier, if I'm honest. But obviously they're waiting to see if the data was going to be bad at 3 o'clock. So as I say, covered the rest of that just before the data. Had to really. I didn't want to hold that through the data. Data came out, spiked lower. This was poor. Chased that a little bit and ended up scratching that for a 5 tick loss or so. That's just bad trading. I just thought, okay, there's a weakness behind it. There's a weakness. We're going to take out lows. We're going to roll over. But I just didn't wait patiently for that. I just chased it a little bit, which was poor. But anyway, it didn't cost me much. Still keen on the short though. So I waited this time for the pop back up. We got the pop back up, which was nice. Ticks pulled back to 0. We'll see on here. This is a 1 minute chart, by the way. It's just a bit of a cleaner 1 minute chart up here. We've got that tick pull back to 0. There was my entry. I'll zoom in on that. Hopefully you can see that better. You can see their low ticks, pull back to 0, above 0. There's my entry, and looking for the rollover. Scaling off some quickly. Still a little bit concerned that obviously the prior day's low is right there, and I'm not 100% keen on doing stuff like that when you've got that. When you've got key levels in sight, I prefer them to be lower. But as I say, I did feel now that it was starting to turn into one of those trend days. So traded that really well actually. Just took some off on the impulse, waited, it just kept banging its head, or just knocking on that door, couldn't break. Finally got the break over, and I just held it because I wanted to see a low tick reading. I just wasn't going to close it. I refused to close it until we got a low tick reading. And minus 1,000 was what I was after, and we got to I think we got to minus 900, and I thought that's enough, that's close enough. That's a flush in my eyes. The volume had started to pick up. You could see. Sorry, where are we here? The volume had started to pick up, as you can see there. I'll bring the chart a bit bigger. Yeah, you see the volume there just started to pick up. There's the nice low tick reading. Donk, I'm all out. So yeah, that was a good couple of trades. Little bit of a poor trade there, but acknowledged that I chased it and just scratched. I didn't want to. In fact, if I'd have held it and worked that position, it would have worked out okay. But when I'm in a trade, if I take a trade and I don't like it, I don't even hesitate. Just get out of it. Just get the hell out, because if you don't want it, it's just going to linger and it's just going to annoy you and frustrate you. So I just ditch it straight away, whatever that may be. 5 tick loss, 6 tick loss, 2 tick profit, whatever. Just straight out of the game. This actually started to tweak a bit of my emotions here of a bit of annoyance. And I recognised that and stepped away. I made 2 great trades there, and I was waiting for a counter trend pullback. By then it was obvious to me that it was a nice downtrend day, and on a downtrend day, one of my favourite setups is to wait for the first overbought condition. First pullback after a good drive lower, and then take the short. So I was ready for that. I was waiting for that. That's all I was waiting for. Sitting there, um, we pushed up, almost got overbought. I would have preferred the VWAP. I guess that's why I hesitated a bit. I would have preferred a little bit higher, and it potentially could have had a lot higher because it only just got overbought on the cycle. So it was a very, very shallow cycle higher. Um, and I probably was looking for a little bit higher. But anyway, I normally would have started to scale in anyway, hoping for a sort of average position about here, scaling in to try and get that average position. That's actually that's too much, really. That's too much. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. But I do scale in on these plays that you have to sort of try and work the position. But not much. I don't like to scale in under too wide of a range. So perhaps subconsciously that's why I didn't take that. I don't know. But that actually annoyed me a little bit. Annoyed me a little bit, and even after all these years trading, you still get. Obviously, we're all human. At the end of the day, we're all human. We're all emotional. We all. That's how human beings work, isn't it? Emotion. And yeah, it fired up a bit of an annoyance in me. I got a little bit annoyed that I missed that because I was waiting for that. And I thought that was one actually that I was going to try and hold for a good run. But I missed it. So I missed it, and I thought, okay, I'm walking away. I'm walking away, and I don't want to because I'll end up trying to chase stuff that's not there. And I did. I walked away from it. I didn't get involved in it. I was here. I was looking. I came back and looked. I was looking for some sort of exhaustion to go long on. I just never saw it. I never saw good enough exhaustion. This is okay in hindsight, but I just didn't see that. And the selling was just so strong all the time. I just didn't take any longs. Just stayed out of the longs. So to say, yeah, a little bit annoyed I missed that. But I think the important thing to say is if you do get annoyed, frustrated, angry, whatever at trading, which is trading does tweak all those emotions in you, is to recognise that and step away. Because if you're trading from an emotional state, I speak from experience. Trading from an emotional state, you don't make the same correct decisions. You don't make the same decisions based on your experience in the market. You make the decisions based on what your emotions telling you, because emotions are clouding the decision process. So if I feel any heightened emotion of any sort, even if I feel as if I've had a great day, as soon as I feel I'm having a great day in trading, I'll back off, because even then I'm starting to think I start to think you're invincible and this and that. So very much taking the emotional thermometer or a pulse of your emotions all the time, and that raised it slightly for me. So I stepped back, and I'm pleased I did. I'm pleased I did, because I came back fresh, and I got a great short going to the close. That was still my premise. I thought we haven't had one of these for a while. We haven't had one of these. These are the old bear market days when we just get an absolute push into the close and everyone panicking, running for the door. And if you could time that right, it was a great trade. And two great trades for me in the close. This was a little bit aggressive, but I got away with it. Lent on my tape reading skills a little bit here for this one. There was the low. We broke the low by a few ticks. We didn't bounce. We just consolidated. And when you get that, and it was just worth a short there with a stop above there, real tight stop on it. Consolidation. It just looked like a flag ready to break again. It broke again, and I didn't hang around with that one. I thought, okay, I'm gonna ditch that. It could pull back. It's come from there to there. It's due a little bit of a pullback. Pulled back, and it just still looks so weak on that pullback. It really did. So I got short at 12 or 13. I can't remember. It's in the video. I think it was 12. And it was a beautiful trade because it just sat there. It sat there. I watched it pop to 15. I think it was, or 16, and it just couldn't get any further. You could see the seller on the tape, and with just time was ticking for the guys. We had that 20 minutes to go, and I just was hoping for a real capitulation into the close. And you look at the video, you'll see it. Who caught it live after I'd entered. In IG, set my limit, set my stop, and then obviously watching TradeStation because it's the much better platform to watch for charts on the dome. So just watching that and fired the recorder up. So it just rolled over beautifully. I got a target. I was determined to hold for a decent target on this and just play out the premise. 73 was the exit, and then I held a couple just till the close, and I pushed back up. I did have a stop at 03 or 02. It pushed back up, then rolled over just before the close, and I got an exit around. I think it was 80. 2, something like that. So, great day, really great day. But what made it a great day wasn't necessarily the trades for me. I mean, the first trades of the morning were great. A bit of a silly trade there. It could have been a spoilt day if I'd have let that get to me. If I'd have let that get to me too much, and I'd have allowed that to control my trading, that miss. For whatever reason, we can dissect it as much as we like. Whatever reason you miss trades, it's going to happen, and every so often it will tweak something inside you. But I stepped back, and that's what made it a good day. Just that decision to walk away, because I've been there before. We all know how trading can be. So I stepped away, and it was the best decision of the day, because in actual fact I got on the end of a really good trade at the end. Held it, didn't scale out of it, and another trade, great trade there, and obviously there's the scale on that. So it turned out to be a fantastic day, and I put that down to being in tune with your emotional thermometer. But anyway, I've waffled on too much about stuff like that, but I really do think it's important, just as important, as I say, managing risk is important. And these sort of trend days, guys, don't chase them. Wait for it to pull back. You've got to manage risk in a way. If you're chasing it, you're not managing your risk. But I hope you had a great day yesterday. I hope you have a great day today, rest of the week. Please, please, please manage your risk. Please, if you've got a defined risk on the day and you hit that, then flip over to the simulator. Just keep that. You've defined your risk when you're cool and calm and you're not in the heat of trading. So stick to it. Stick to risk per trade. Stick to your risk per day, and you can stay in the game. So good trading, guys, and I shall be back with another video. Apologies, it's a long video, but I wanted to talk through a few things. I'll be back with another video probably tomorrow or perhaps over the weekend. Good trading.